Namaste. Hi, I'm Bruce Benefiel, also known as Zendor, and welcome to One World. Welcome to this edition of One World. We've got a very special guest, and being Zendor, or being your door to what is, I'd like to share with you some perspectives of the Native American culture. Now, we'll be talking this evening about the Phoenix Indian School Project and also a play called Indians Discover Christopher Columbus. And with us in the studio today is a very special guest, Jean Chaudhuri. Now, Jean is also a fourth-generation ceremonial storyteller, so she's going to have a lot of neat things to share with us. And with that, Jean, welcome. Good to have you here.
It's good to see you, Bruce. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Now, and a pleasure for me, too. I'm honored every time I have the chance to sit with Native Americans because of your heritage and actually your outlook on the world, and which I think is a much truer perspective, honoring all our relations, all life, being one world. Now, with it, the Indians discover Christopher Columbus. Now, you've done a lot of work on that. What initially prompted you to do something like this? Now, we are coming up on the quinticentennial celebration of the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, at least as far as white man's view is. Right. But the Native Americans have a much different view. Could you share with us?
I would love to, but before I go into it, we always say that we as Native American Indians and all of our relatives, we should be of one mind, one thought, one spirit. And I want to do the Energizer song, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I think everybody in the valley knows it. If they don't know it, they're going to hear it.
Okay.
Because we are yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, we are hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, we are hi yo, hi yo. Means gathering of the energy of being one thought, one mind, and oneness, and God the Creator. And 1992 will mark the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Many Indians are saying the invasion. But the life before Christopher Columbus, I would really like to share with you. They tell us that mothers were still yet singing to their children, having them to go to sleep because tomorrow will be a good day. You will enjoy the life as it is before Christopher Columbus. Through our oral traditions, which has been handed down generations to generation, we think that mothers may have been singing to their children in a traditional way, caressing their babies and singing songs. Baby-ko-chee, hogo-sogo-chee, baby-bo-chee-do, sogo-sogo-chee, baby, no, just sing, go to sleep, little baby, go to sleep. For there are little hunters out in the forest, hunting little rabbits, little turtles, etc. And dream of these little animals, sleep, my child. And also before Christopher Columbus' arrival, we also have heard a wonderful Algonquin Indian chief used to tell the story and saying, sons belongs to fathers. Fathers, treat the gentility of the curiosity of your child. Fathers, give time to your children when they are young. Teach them the way of the forest and the breezes that comes forth, and let them know the tracks that our brothers, the animals, the deer, the bear, truly nurtures us. Fathers, give time to your children. When they are old, when they are young men, they will sit by your feet, and they will thirst after your knowledge, and will remind you of those golden, happy days that they learned from you. For you are the carrier of the seeds of wisdom for the future, and you have given a legacy to the children. Fathers, give time to your children. And also, they tell us that the mothers must have spoken to their children, saying, mothers, put your hand in the hand of your daughters and teach them that we are like Mother Earth. Mother Earth brings forth the flowers. It brings forth the plants, edible plants, the lethal plants, hallucinogenic plants, and let them know that there are some healing plants, that these plants nurtures us. Mothers, put your hand in the hands of young women and let them know that they too are the carriers of traditions. So that's sort of the life before Columbus.
Beautiful.
So we're sort of excited.
Oh yeah, and as a storyteller, it's not often that I get a chance to sit in the company of such an avid storyteller.
Well, I love telling stories, and boy, can I tell big ones.
Now, what prompted you initially to get involved with Indians discover Christopher Columbus? It's kind of a backward view, and you mentioned earlier of Native Americans look at it as kind of an invasion. It's kind of a comical view on that invasion, is it not?
Yes, it is, because with Christopher Columbus coming, oftentimes people will make Columbus as a hero. He was the doorway to the European civilization to encounter the Native American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And 500 years ago, they tell us that the Native American Indians in the Caribbeans had a beautiful Garden of Paradise. And in fact, some of our stories as Native American Indians, we always tease about Columbus being not very, not very bright at times. He would put his shoes on the wrong side of the feet, and then he would put his pants backwards and wonder why he couldn't go to the bathroom quick enough. And also he would bring in a chicken and say, look, Mamma Mia, I have a chicken, and the chicken turns out to be a duck. And then as he grows up,
like a really smart bird.
Right.
Huh?
But he was very good at geography, because on his walls were certificate of A+, and map making. So as a child, we often think of Christopher Columbus being a little boy, having this dream that, oh, Mamma Mia, I have a dream somewhere out there. I'm going to find beautiful Indian women with long waving hair, flowing dresses, saris, spices I will find. I will find land, silver and gold. Whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, I'm going to go after that land when I am a grown man. So he had this dream of searching for the Indians. And he knew that the world was round, but others said, hey, Columbus, you take off on that sea, you're going to fall off. But little Columbus still had his dream. So when he became a grown man, he tried to get support from Portugal. Nobody wanted to give him the funds to look for Indian land, because that was his dream. Somewhere out there is Indian land. I've got to have this Indian land. He went to Spain. And poor little Columbus, they would not fund his voyage. Then he gets a padre. Padre says, hey, Columbus, don't worry. I know the king and I know the queen. I have an inn and I'll talk to them, So they both went before the king and queen, and Columbus is standing there, and he has his project, and he said, oh, Madam Queen and Master King, whatever the formal names are. This is our Indian perspective.
Right.
And then he begins to say, fund me so that I may find land for you, that I may find gold and silver and bring back spices. The economy of Spain will grow, and there will be jobs for your workers, etc. And the king and queen sitting there not really listening to him. And the queen says, will you bring some silver and gold for my necklaces, etc.? And Columbus says, oh, yes, yes. And Columbus
How
says,
deep do you want to dig into your pockets to find my mission?
That's right. I need to dig into your pockets, is what he's saying to the king and queen. And then the queen says, well, have you done a feasibility study? Columbus, feasibility study, what does that mean? He said, you have your letters of support. And Columbus said, well, I don't know anything about these things you're asking me, but I'll run out and go get it. And he did, and he gets his voyage funded. And Columbus is ready to come to America. America, I almost said Indians before America. But anyway, Columbus and his padre, they gave the blessings for the king and the queen, and they're ready to come and look for the Indian nations. Really, India, that's where they're going. So they get on this boat, this ship, etc., in Columbus, saying, I have this dream. I don't want anything except 10% of the money that I may bring in, the gold and silver. I don't want anything, but I want to be a viceroy. I want to be a governor of the land. I want to be the admiral of the sea. You know, he has his hidden agenda.
He doesn't want anything,
yeah,
no.
They said, I really don't need too much of anything. In the meantime, he gets on his ship, and he's going, and it's dark. It's silent out there. All of his shipmen says, Columbus, you told us that we'll be finding Indian land soon, and there's no land in sight. We're hungry. Our bread is mildew, and look, there's worms crawling all over our meat too. You know, we don't want this kind of living. So they become so angry with Columbus, and they began to tug on him, began to throw him over the ship, and he's dangling by his foot. And he looks up and he says, oh, he says, please, please don't throw me over the ship rail. Please don't. Suddenly he hits his eyes. Oh, my gosh, I've got something in my eye. And everybody drags him back and said, what's wrong, Columbus? He said, oh, my God. Oh, there's a bird up there. And then he says, the old saying that I'm glad cows don't fly.
Right.
And then suddenly Columbus sobers up.
New meaning to the foo bird, huh?
Right, and he, you know, he's a little cuckoo, but Columbus says to his shipmates, he says, wait a minute, shipmates, when there is a bird, there's an old saying that there is land out there. Sure enough, there was land out there. Mm-hmm. And around the corner are some native people, indigenous people out there. And the characteristic or traits of Native American Indians were friendly, we're hospitable. Indian giver, the concept of Indian giver is that we give from the heart to give. Mm-hmm. And the Anglo way thinks of us that we give and we take back. I mean, we've given so much. Columbus go and...
I think it's just the opposite. The Anglos, you know, give and they take back, and at least in the way that we, and I include myself in that because I'm part of this society, the way that we have treated the Native Americans, we haven't given them much respect because we haven't really taken the time to understand their ways as much as we need to.
That's right. And when Columbus approached the Caribbeans, he sees the land of paradise. And it's so beautiful. He kisses it. And then he sees the Indians, and he calls them gods, los dios, los indios. He is so grateful. And he said, oh, I found Indian land. You know, this is going to be mine. And he begins to say, I claim this portion for Spain. In the meantime, the Indians are looking at each other and say, who is that stranger? And one of the Indians said, hey, stranger, come over here and talk to us. You know, don't feel like a stranger in our land. We want to give you food. We want to give you bedding. We want to give you everything. Be our friend. But one of the wise Indians says, how can you say that? You should have put those people without papers are coming into our shores. We don't need them. We don't need population explosion. And well, anyway, they welcome Columbus, and Columbus is wearing a beret, and Indians never seen a beret before, and one of the Indians said, hey, look at that, his wife must be a terrible cook, a terrible cook. He's making fun of our fried bread, and he's wearing that bread. And one of the Indians said, don't make fun of our bread. Our bread is the bread of life. It's the bread that causes us to survive. And they said, well, you know, his wife must have been angry and threw it at him anyway. They continued to laugh. And one of the Native American Indians began to sing out, we are hi-yo, we are hi-yay, we are hi-yo, fry bread, fry bread.